Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about my intimidating TBR pile. This is actually a tag that was created by Lindsay Ray. I will link her original video down below. Also just go check her out because she's amazing. I don't know if I've been tagged by anybody, but that's not going to stop me from doing this tag. I'm going to do it today, so without further ado, let's talk about my intimidating TBR pile. A book that you have been unable to finish. I've got a few for this question. The first one being Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes. Now this is a series that I've just been wanting to continue on with for the longest time. I read the first book and I loved it, and I immediately jumped into Rebel Spring, but life got busy as I was reading this book, and so I was unable to finish it, and I just haven't picked it up ever since. I want to read this, but it's going to require me to reread the first 200 pages, and that's something that's really hard for me to get myself to do when I know that I have to reread something in order to continue on with the series. That's something that kind of holds me back, so I need to do that. I really want to continue on with the series though, because I'm always hearing how the series just keeps getting better and better, so I need to get back to this ASAP. Then I've got The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. Now I only got 69 pages into this one, but those 69 pages weren't enough to keep me reading, unfortunately. I almost feel like I'm gonna have to reread The Fifth Wave before I continue on with The Infinite Sea, just because I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time enjoying The Infinite Sea if I don't reread The Fifth Wave. Because the first 69 pages of this book, I didn't know who any of the characters were, and I was also bored out of my mind. I just realized how harsh that sounded. I apologize. Maybe the book just isn't for me. And the last book for this question is Me Being Me is Exactly as Insane as You Being You. I got 50 or so pages into this book, and then I got distracted by another book, I believe. And I really want to read this book though, because it's so interesting, the whole concept behind the story structure. It's told through lists, which I just think is so new and refreshing. And I really want to continue on with this book, but I just got really distracted by other shiny new books. I feel like that's a struggle for every reader. We want to read certain books, but then we're just distracted by new, shiny, beautiful books. A book that you just haven't read because you don't have enough time. A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I've been meaning to pick this book up for the longest time, but I just don't have enough time to devote to this book right now. I've got a lot of review books that I want to get to, and I'm also just not really in a fantasy mood right now because I just marathoned a butt ton of Cassandra Clare books, and I just need a break. I need to read all the contemporaries, and maybe then I will be in the mood to read a book like this one. A book you haven't read yet because it's a sequel. The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. She trolled us all with that one. This is the sequel to The Cuckoo's Calling, which is a book that I haven't read yet, so I need to read that book in order to read this book. But I received this book as a gift from my aunt on my birthday, so I just haven't been able to read it yet because I haven't read The Cuckoo's Calling. But I really want to read this series. I know that Kat from Cattytastic loves this series, so I can't wait to read it and kind of find out what it's all about. I know that it's kind of like a mystery series, I want to say. There's something mysterious going on. That's all I know. I really don't know that much about it. But it's J.K. freaking Rowling. I can't not read it. A book you have yet to read because it's brand spanking new. I got Wink Poppy Midnight in the mail recently, so it's brand spanking new. Haven't had the time to sit down and read this book yet. It is a rather short book though, so I do think that this is a book that I could possibly read in one sitting. Also, can we just talk about this stunning cover we have here? It is beautiful, and also the feeling of it. It's got that smooth, nice and smooth feeling. Smooth criminal. A book you haven't read yet because you read another book by this author and you didn't enjoy it, and so that's kind of causing you to be hesitant about reading this book. Vanishing Girl is by Lauren Oliver. I have a love-hate relationship with Lauren Oliver books, and I'm also just a little bit intimidated by this book because when it first came out, it got a lot of bad reviews, and that has me just super hesitant. But when this book came out, I was so hyped for it, and I was so pumped about reading it, and it just never happened. This is about two sisters who don't have the best relationship, but when one of the sisters goes missing, the other one does everything they can to find her. I need to just buck up and read this book though. I'm tired of it just sitting on my shelf. I need to read it. It's gotta happen soon. A book that you're just not in the mood for. Now this is a book that I really want to read eventually, but right now, in this moment, I'm just not in the mood for it, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. Part of the reason why I want to read this book is because this book has been on my shelf for 3 years? Maybe 2, but I'm pretty sure it's been on my shelf for 3 years. And the thing is, this book has a lot of elements that I love. It's set in the 1920s. There's some supernatural stuff going on. And I've also heard that it's creepy. Those are 3 things that I love in a book. I love all those things. I need to read this book, but when am I gonna read it? I have no idea. A book on your TBR that you haven't read yet because it's humongous. For this one, I'm gonna go with A Little Life. Now, this book isn't really that big. I mean, it's only 720 pages, which I find that to be a very big book. But recently, I read a lot of books that are pretty much the same amount as this book, so there's really no excuse. But this is like the first book that came to mind when I thought big book, because this is a big old book. And also this is one of those books where the pages are like super thin. They're like Bible pages. Not only am I intimidated by this book because of its size, but I'm also intimidated by the fact that a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this book and that it makes them super emotional. And sometimes when I hear those reactions, it makes me put off reading the book. But I do obviously want to read this book at some point in time, because even though it'll be an emotional read, I know that it's also going to be a beautiful story. A book you haven't read yet because you bought it because of the cover, and then you read some reviews, and there were a lot of mixed reviews. For this one, I'm going with 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. Can we just appreciate how beautiful this cover is? We've got this like watercolor feeling, and we've got this cityscape, and then you turn it around, and you've got another one, and it's just beautiful. But when this book came out and people started reading and reviewing it, it got a lot of mixed reviews, and that has totally held me back from picking this book up and reading it. I still want to read it eventually and kind of see what it's all about, but I'm kind of holding off at the moment. What's the most intimidating book on your TBR? I'm going with 2, and that is the last 2 books in the Mistborn Trilogy. I really want to complete this trilogy. I loved the first book. It was so freaking good. Why haven't I picked up these 2 books? Because they're intimidating, because Brandon Sanderson's books are so big and they take me forever to read. But I want to read them because Brandon Sanderson is such a fantastic writer. I'm just hecka intimidated by these books. Also, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm afraid of who's gonna die in the end. I don't want my babies dead. Who do you tag? I'm gonna tag Books and Big Hair and Lulo Fangirl. You guys have been tagged. If I didn't tag you and you wanna do this tag, then you've been tagged. You guys should let me know down below the book on your shelf that you're most intimidated by and why. I'd love to know. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so click subscribe if you want to be notified for when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew. Hey guys, today I'm gonna be talking that's what I'm gonna be talking about. Yup, nope. This is the sequel to the Suku Calling. Number 7, this is 7, not 6, Jesse.